Do you remember the first time we met?
The actual meeting?
Yeah.
Not the first time. The thing I remember, seriously, is you remember our former general manager, Kathy Clements?
Yeah.
She calls me down to her office and said, we just hired this guy, Pete Delkus from Cincinnati. You're going to love this guy. And that's why she was shortly replaced. She was kind of on the downhill side. So no, when's the first time we actually saw each other? That I don't remember.
I'll never forget this. The first time I saw you, I'm in the studio, and John and Gloria had described, who you were. And I thought, well, I honest to God. So they all described you, and I'm like, God didn't make anybody like that. You then walked into the studio, and I mean, with all your bluster and everything,
Really?
and I thought, I like this guy.
Yeah.
Because this guy is so full of crap.
Yep.
This is going to be a lot of fun.
Well, I knew this is what Kathy Clements did say to me. She said it would be fun. But she goes, you're going to really love this guy because you were that guy that played along.
Yeah.
I make a lot of people uncomfortable because I don't really have a governor. And if I do have a governor on my mouth, it's broken.
Right.
And, Troy and John and Gloria would even be kind of like, and then I'd hear you laughing like crazy at the other end of the set and playing off it. But the funny part was when all these people thought that you and I were just hating on one another, you started getting those emails, remember?
Oh, yeah.
And they were saying what to you? Yeah, right?
Absolutely. People were like, hey, be careful where you're going. You don't want to necessarily tread those waters.
Yeah,
and I mean, they were it was big caution flags for me.
Well, and my favorite one, though, was when people said, hey, because you read this one to me, we know Dale is old and fat and bald.
That's right, I remember that.
You're making all these jokes about the fact that Dale's old and fat and bald. And we all know that, Pete. But we don't know who you are because we love Dale. We love Dale, okay? So you come up to my office, remember this?
I do.
And you walk in and you're reading this to me. And I'll never forget this. I'll never forget this. You looked at me and you go, big man. You're okay with this, right? I mean, I'm just joking around. You're okay with this. And I turned around and I looked at you and I said, Pete, do you really think you'd still be doing it if I wasn't okay with it?
That's true.
Right.
We're just two guys giving each other a hard time.
Well,
it's like we're two guys in the locker room, two guys in the clubhouse. We're just having fun with each other.
The best part to me was Michael Valentine calls us in and says, I want you guys to say things, especially you, Hansen, because I know you can. I want you to say things that make a 13-year-old boy laugh.
He said exactly that.
Did he not?
That's absolutely true.
He said exactly that.
Yeah.
And I've then looked at him, I said, so that's the demographic we're looking for, right? That's the target audience.
Yeah.
He goes, no. And I still, to this day, I get it. You're not necessarily shooting for the 13-year-old boy,
right.
But he wanted you and me to bring a little levity to the set. And every so often, I know for a fact that 13-year-old boy's laughing, but that 47-year-old executive isn't, or whatever,
right.
And the guy down the street's not laughing, and here come the emails and everything. But that's, to me, it's like working without a net. And I'm fine with that. Didn't you find a little bit of fun in the fact that you...
The answer is no. I found a lot of fun in that.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, they have jobs, right? You just go to the factory, you do this every day. The one thing that I knew I could count on for fun every day was walking in the studio, whether it was, 6:15 or 10:15, I knew that you and I were going to have fun.
Yeah.
And so what I loved the most about was I never knew what was going to be said. I would be driving home at night, going north on the tollway, still laughing at some of the stuff that just was spontaneous.
Yeah, and this is the thing, and I've told people this, and I think you'd admit to this. On occasion, we've had it kind of worked out.
Yeah.
And those were almost always the worst exchanges, in my opinion. But see, I would be driving home cussing at the traffic around me because you forgot the setup line that I gave you at 10 till 10.
Yeah, that's right. And still to this day, you have made this truly, sincerely, I mean, don't let this go to your head. I don't know that the ego can get any bigger. But truly, you have made the 16 plus years that I've been here the best 16 plus years.
Yeah.
You really have.
See, here's the
because
thing.
you know what Mike Devlin told me, our second general manager?
Yeah.
He goes, just be yourself. He goes, because the way you joke around and you tease, the people that love Hansen are going to love it, and the people that don't like Hansen are going to love it.
Yeah, that's
I'm all in.
No, that's right. I mean, my dad used to work for a living. I know your dad used to work for a living. I do ball scores for a living.
Right.
I clown around. I get to take shots at people who make 40 million a year and billions or whatever. I've never worked for a living, at least not for 40 years.
Right.
As I've said before, it's still shocking to me that you've been here 16 years.
Shocking to you.
Yeah, well.
Me too.
Here I am finishing up 38 years at WFAA, and I would have been gone a long time ago if you hadn't shown up. And a lot of people wish you hadn't shown up for just that reason. Forget all the other stuff. You absolutely made it fun again. You absolutely made it fun the way I like to do it, and quite honestly, I know the way you like to do it. And I'm not knocking on all the other people I've worked with over the years, but they didn't quite get me sometimes. And it made them uncomfortable, I think, when I would say something apparently shocking. And then I used to get this all the time from the audience. People would write in and say, your coworkers don't even like you. And I did. I would write back and I said, apparently you confuse me for someone who cares.
There's no doubt. There's no doubt. Yeah, and that was one of my hesitations in coming here was, I've really loved where I worked before, and loved where I lived, and that was fun.
I met your anchor friend that was there.
Absolutely, one of my best friends in the world still, and I loved it there, and I had a good deal. But I always wanted something a little more, and I came here and I thought, what's this going to be like? But back to that first day that you walked into the studio, I went home that night and told Jackie, I said, this is going to be great. And she said, why? And I said, the sports guy, Dale Hansen, I said, I'm telling you, this guy is cut out of the mold and we are going to have a lot of fun. She goes, well, it's just not about having fun. I said, listen, we got all this depressing stuff in the news many days. We need to have a little bit of fun. And if we can, back to what Kathy and Mike told us years ago, if you can your goal is to put a smile on their face. They don't have to laugh, just a smile on their face. And I thought, well, if it's
I prefer to laugh.
Right. But if it's making us smile or laugh, hopefully it's doing the same at home. And I think for a long time it's
I am a frustrated stand-up comic in a fat sportscaster's body. I mean, there's really no question about that. But sometimes you miss. The problem is I'm not afraid to fail. I'm not afraid to die on camera with a dumb joke. That's part of the deal. I mean, that's that working without a net.
Well, if you don't take a swing, though, you're never going to have
You never hit it.
Right.
And I always look at this attitude, and some people don't like it. I get that news is this sacred cow, and it's all serious. But local news is about the personalities involved. You have to make people at home feel that they know you, feel that they're comfortable with you. And part of that is picking on each other like brothers. As you say, making them smile. I prefer to try and make them laugh. I don't apologize for that. I just don't. And
well, I would say after 38 years, it's worked pretty well.
It's worked well enough for enough.
Right.
But the most important thing that I think it's incredibly important for people to understand. I was doing this interview with D Magazine, and the guy said, "Do you have like any regrets?" And I said, "Well, I stopped having regrets a long time ago. I've made a lot of mistakes in my life. I've done a lot of things that I shouldn't have done. And then I think I just knocked the guy off the chair when I looked at him and I said, if I could go back and do it all over again, I'd probably do it the same way. Because I didn't go to college, as you know. I always felt like I had to outwork everybody, and people are probably surprised by this, but that first 30, 40 years of my 50-year run in broadcasting, I'll put it up against anybody. Sure. I will put it up against anybody. I've slowed down quite a bit over the last 10, 12 years. Another reason I think it's time for me to go. But I lost my kids along the way. The relationship that I should have had with them. The difference is, and I still can't get this out of my head, and I tell everybody I meet, you drive up and down that tollway, having dinner with your kids all the way through school, every night. And the things that you've managed to incorporate into your professional life with your family life, it's staggering to me. It's staggering to me. I just never felt I could do it.
Well, hey, here's the
it was
deal.
a mistake. It was a mistake. But I don't know that I would change anything because I felt like I had to work that kind of a schedule to accomplish
well,
it.
And that's that hypothetical of I don't know that I would have changed it if I had to do it over again. But here's the deal. I've asked you multiple times, the last several months or the last couple of years, because we've talked about retirement and stuff. but what are you going to do when you retire? Here's what you can do, because there's still time left. You can still make those connections, right, with the kids.
Try
I mean,
it.
you still have that.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no doubt you can. So maybe that's the thing. If it's not golf, if it's not playing cards with the guys, or whatever it is.
But I tell you the truth, I am real tired of people asking me what I'm going to do next. That really does kind of bug me. I've reached that point because, one, I don't have a good answer, and two, I'm 73, right? I think I'm an incredibly young 73, but I'm 73. Why do I have to do something next? I'm thinking long and hard about all of it, but there is a big part of me that thinks, no, there's no next. There's no next. I've had a great run. I've had fun. I've loved it. My next might be making that trip to the Grand Canyon that I want to make.
Hey, you know what? Hey, you know what? I've got an idea. Volunteering at church.
Well, let's not get carried away. I mean, this is the thing that people, I think, find hard to believe. I don't ever want to offend anybody. I'm smart enough to know that there's nothing to be gained by offending people. I like jokes. I like people say things about me. I don't care. I mean, give it your best shot.
You're the guy, though. You give it, but you can take it.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's funny,
right,
I'm all in.
Right.
I'm all in. And I just wish people could sometimes lighten up and understand that a little bit. You and I disagree about sports teams, about coverage, raising families, politics, whatever it is. I don't care. I know you're a good man. One of my very best friends, we laughed, and we've laughed basically from the first time we met, and we've been laughing on the air for 16 years, because you're just a kid. You're just kind of dipping your toe into this to see if it's going to work for you, see how it's going to play.
I still haven't decided.
It's, I think you got a chance. Although I still look at your 16 years, I said, do it all again. Do it all again. And you've got 6 more years to go. That's what I've done.
But it has flown by, hasn't it?
It's been a pleasure, my friend.
It has been all my pleasure, believe me.